Mr. President, our country demands much of the Senate Judiciary Committee on which you serve, and it's been my honor to serve as chair of that committee for the last 4 years. We've worked hard to defend freedom, advance justice and equality, and balance our federal judiciary. During my time as chair, these last 4 years, we have held 145 full committee hearings, 88 subcommittee hearings, and 86 executive business meetings. We advanced 373 executive and judicial nominees, and we reported 56 bills out of committee. We confirmed highly qualified, diverse judicial nominees who will be a frontline defense of the rule of law for a generation. Our efforts over the last 4 years have filled the vacancies of 1/4 of the members of the federal judiciary. We also revitalized the committee's critical oversight role over the executive branch agencies under our jurisdiction. We made progress on issues critical to Americans, including protecting children online, supporting women who face sexual harassment and assault in the workplace, and implementing criminal gun violence prevention reform. I want to thank all of the Senate Judiciary members, particularly the Democrats, for their hard work ensuring equal justice for all and defending our democracy. I would be remiss not to acknowledge our former colleague, the late Senator Dianne Feinstein of California. Dianne was a trailblazer and champion for LGBTQ Americans, reproductive rights, and gun violence. We honor her legacy by continuing our efforts on those critical issues. I also am particularly thankful for the Republican ranking member, Lindsey Graham, and my Senate Judiciary Republican colleagues who were willing to work across the aisle to advance judicial nominees and bipartisan legislation. Over 80% of all the judges approved by the Senate, reported out of the committee, have been approved by a bipartisan roll call. Perhaps our most impactful work has been confirming these highly qualified, independent, and even-handed judges. Aside from their exceptional qualification and respect for the rule of law, they represent historic demographic and professional diversity. Under President Biden's leadership, the Senate has confirmed more black women to the federal circuit courts than all prior presidents of the United States combined, including the first ever black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. We have confirmed an historic number of Asian Americans, Latinos, and LGBTQ judges. We have also confirmed more circuit judges that have experience as public defenders than all prior presidents combined. During the last 4 years, Senate Democrats have confirmed 233 judges to lifetime positions. And if we confirm 2 more to the federal bench this week, which is our plan, we will surpass the previous administration's record. The confirmation of these highly qualified, diverse judges will help ensure the fair and impartial administration of justice in our nation. These judges are already making significant contributions to protecting freedoms and democracy. Since becoming chair of the committee in 2021, I've also made it a priority to revitalize our tradition of oversight of executive branch agencies within the committee's jurisdiction. We need to make sure these agencies are serving the interests of the American people, and we have scheduled regularly scheduled hearings for this type of oversight. We've had meetings with the Attorney General, officials in the Department of Justice, FBI, Bureau of Prisons, and Department of Homeland Security, making sure that every member on both sides of the table had a chance to question the leaders of these agencies on a regular basis. Over the past 4 years, we've made progress in advancing key legislation. Important bills we enacted into law include legislation barring forced arbitration for sexual assault and sexual harassment cases. Legislation I authored to sustain the Federal Crime Victims Fund. Legislation I also offered to eliminate the federal statute of limitations for child sex abuse cases. And my legislation with Republican Senator Grassley to allow the Justice Department to prosecute war criminals. We showed that when we're willing to come together on a bipartisan basis, we can make progress. We also unanimously reported several bills to help stop the exploitation of kids online. Earlier this year, I had a full committee hearing and demanded the CEOs of social media giants Discord, Meta, Snap, TikTok, and X, formerly known as Twitter, come before the hearing. It highlighted the ongoing risks that social media poses to our kids and the immediate need for Congress to act. We didn't get it done in this session. We must get it done in the next. And I believe that Senator Graham, who will continue to serve on the committee, will join me in that effort. The committee also led the effort to address the Supreme Court's ongoing ethics crisis. This troubles me, Mr. President. It used to be that issues of ethics before the court were bipartisan issues in the Senate. Not so anymore. At a time when the worst reports are coming out of the Supreme Court of lavish gifts for Supreme Court justices, this has become a partisan issue. The Democrats calling for change and the Republicans resisting. I don't know what happened to that bipartisan consensus on ethics, but looking at the evidence that we've uncovered through committee staff work and subpoenas, it surely is demanding of us to do something. Ensuring that all Supreme Court justices are subject to an enforceable code of conduct is critical to establishing the American people's trust in the court. More than 12 years ago, I asked in writing Chief Justice Roberts to adopt a binding code of conduct for all Supreme Court justices. 12 years ago. Last year, the Judiciary Committee reported the Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act to the full Senate. It is a work product of one of our members, Sheldon Whitehouse. It's an excellent bill, and I was happy to support it. The bill would require justices to adopt an enforceable code of conduct so that the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, doesn't have the lowest ethical standards of all courts in America. Our work didn't stop there. We worked on defending reproductive health care, curbing gun violence, and dealing with the major issues that are on the minds of the American people. Finally, I want to acknowledge the work of the Senate Judiciary Committee's 8 subcommittees, which hold dozens of hearings on matters under the committee's jurisdiction. I want to thank Chairs Blumenthal, Booker, Butler, Coons, Klobuchar, Ossoff, Padilla, Whitehouse, and Senators Hirono and Welch for their hard work and leadership in this effort. Once again, thanks to all the members of the Senate Judiciary Committee for their cooperation. It has been the honor of a lifetime.